I was talking about imposter syndrome with a bunch of coaches, like 10 coaches sitting at a round table, and all of them went around to introduce themselves and they started talking about their experience with imposter syndrome. And it was interesting because so many of them said things like, oh, yeah, like I don't know, sometimes my client says that they didn't get anything out of the session. Or sometimes I'm working with a CEO and I just don't know anything about the company, like numbers and culture, and so I don't know that I can really help that person. Or like, yeah, I come to this coaching conference and I look at everybody else's credentials and I don't have those, and I'm just starting out and I don't have that much experience. And I'm like, are you serious, people? Like, this is unbelievable to me. While I'm sitting there, my mouth wanted to open. Actually, well, and it did eventually when I introduced myself last, and I went around and I pointed out in what the people said, like exactly where the good part is. So with that person saying, oh, I don't know if my client got anything out of the session, and sometimes I feel like I do a bad session. There are no bad coaching sessions. Even if the coach asks bad questions, it still will help the person figure out what it is that they don't want. So the idea of like a bad coaching session, I really can't even imagine what that is, unless the coach is like completely not listening to the client. But that's really, I would say, almost impossible if you're in a one-on-one. Um, and then like the thing about, oh, I don't know about the subject matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter whatsoever. I could be talking to the CEO of a biomedical engineering company and feel completely comfortable because it doesn't have to do with the biomedical engineering stuff. It has to do with who that person is and what they're saying in that session, and what they're presenting at the time. Like everything else is peripheral. Anything that has to do with their whatever else that they're not talking about in the session is not something that the coach would need to worry about. Um, so I just thought it was interesting because, like, why do we get up in our minds about how good we are or how good we aren't? And I don't, I don't know. Like, I don't have this problem very often, so it's not something that I feel that I really suffer from, because I look at the skills and abilities that I have, and I say, yeah, of course I could coach that person, obviously, because by coaching that person, it really means actively listening to that person and presenting back what they're saying and taking, it's like a dance. It's like whatever the person's giving you, you're giving back to them. And I was trained in it even. So, I mean, I feel like I know what I'm doing. Not I feel like, I know what I'm doing. I can't stand when people say I feel like. I did a video on that too, because it's really not an emotion. I think that I do a good job when I coach. And I know that because I provide the space for the presence of my listening skills with that other person. So whether I'm the best coach in the world or the worst coach in the world, I couldn't tell you, but can tell you that my clients seem to be doing just fine. They seem to have advancements. Like the amount of things that I've seen my clients do in a short period of time is nuts. It's nuts. And so that is like auto affirming to what I do as a coach. Even if they don't tell me, you know, even if they don't attribute it, to the fact that they're in coaching, because it's really about them and their own decisions and what they do. So the fact that you have a coach kind of there to bounce ideas off of, that's something that's really helped me. But I'm ultimately the one who had to make the changes and be responsible for my own actions. I mean, after the hour was done with the coach, I didn't have him around anymore, so I had to figure it all out on my own. So I think I do the same thing now for people. And now that I'm a coach, is I let them talk and figure it out, and then they have to go practice. Like they need time to practice whatever it is that they're trying to change. Sometimes it can happen overnight. Like sometimes people say, okay, I'm going to do something right after we finish the call, and they do it. And then because they actually take action and they don't wait around and twiddle their thumbs on what's next, they're going to see results quicker because they're taking actions quicker. It's not like a hard concept to understand. But going back to this experience with all of these coaches, it's just so interesting to me that that we can talk to ourselves that way, and that we can think that we're not just the best thing since sliced bread. Because I do think that about myself, and it's not from an egotistical place. It's from a place of like, I know who I am. I know what I offer. I know the gifts that I have, and I know that I'm using them in my job and in every interaction that I have with people to really like put my best self forward. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and then that's on me to correct. It's not on anybody else. But I do feel like this whole imposter syndrome thing, while I understand it's totally real to the people experiencing it, I think it all goes back to us just believing in ourselves and us needing to take actions to figure it out. So I know that I'm like talking a lot about coaching because that's what this thing was about, but that's what I would say that people who have imposter syndrome could do in order to work through it, because there's clearly an iceberg underneath whatever the tip is showing, and there's got to be some innate beliefs or limiting beliefs that the person has, and in order to get them up and out, coaching can be a really good resource. And it was for me too, not necessarily with imposter syndrome, but with every other syndrome that I've brought to my coach. Like, having that space there saved me truly, and is a huge reason that I'm now a coach, because I saw how powerful it was to have somebody else helping me.